Welcome back to Absolutely. We're well known for going off on wild and crazy tangents right in the middle of a proper topic. We just went on a 30-minute tangent about too much content. We turned it into another episode of our content for you to consume. Please tell me down below how much this irony is just incredible and enjoy.
What's going on with damage control? Why do they have a facility? Why do they have a Supermax prison all of a sudden?
Their Shield, they just took over. They're just, whatever Shield had, damage control now runs. That's it.
I wish they would explain that. I wish they would just say that.
They're never going to do that.
So
They're never going to
frustrating.
do that because we're in the mega lazy, yet also super desperate for content period of Disney, Marvel, and the MCU, where they're like, okay, look. Like legitimately, for the first 12 years or whatever, however, 10 years of Marvel Cinematic of the MCU, Feige's like, I love the comic books. We're trying to do this thing, and it's gonna be fun. Oh, I mean, we got stuff. And then now they're like, all right, enough. I don't want to hear any more complaints, okay? Here's your Moon Knight show. It's not very good.
Ourselves.
Shut up. You'll like it. End of story. All right, here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another. And it's like, none of these are very good.
Another one.
Yeah. It's like, hey, some of these aren't very good. They're like, yeah, you'll like it, and that's the end of it. All right? That's the end.
I mean, that is the sad point.
It.
I do feel like that's the point we're at with the MCU, where they just kind of doesn't matter. You're all going to watch it.
That's it. It's literally, they're just throwing their hands over the air. Oh, who cares? Like, why am I trying so hard? You're just going to watch it anyway?
Like, we've hit that era of this fandom. This is probably a discussion for an entirely different video. But it actually reminds me of how Star Wars ended up going, where the assumption was no matter what it is Star Wars, you're going to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And so they just make whatever they want now. Well, they did, and that's the problem. And I feel like we're in a weird middle ground with that with the MCU, where they're like, we don't got to spend that extra $100 million to make it that solid. I mean, we can make it okay. It'll be fine.
Even then,
we
don't
too
need
is
to have it be a tight script. It's just whatever.
No. The weird thing, too, is, especially comparing it to Star Wars, all of those movies still made money, so it was mostly them... It was mostly them saying, hey, people critically don't like these very much, so let's pivot and do something else. Let's shut down the next trilogy plan we had and all this movie nonsense. Yeah. We'll scale back, do Disney Plus stuff. But with Marvel... they're still making quality that's good enough to skate by with the critics, but it's, clearly not as, controlled and cohesive as it used to be,
right.
so they're not going to get the message.
No. Just the fact of the matter is, what if Moon Knight, the Hawkeye show, Doctor Strange, all these, Black Widow, they've all come out and within a week, gone. No one cares.
Gone.
Moving on.
Yeah. Black Widow was the biggest sign, I think, where they were like, oh... whatever, because Black Widow's like, oh, that movie should have been $60 million and it should have been a spy movie, and instead it was we got giant castles in the sky and all this horrible looking CG, and it's just really just a big fat mess. And I'm like, why? And they're like, I don't know. And then they realize oh, you know what? We didn't need to spend that much. Why did we do that? But not in a way where they're going oh, we should make tighter scripts, more intimate stories,
It's like TV shows.
It's almost, the fact is, everyone forgets Black Widow was a movie last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Although I will say,
people still talk about Shang-Chi at least once in a blue moon, or
do
Eternals. When was the last time anybody hit us up and was like, Black Widow? What did you guys think about Black Widow?
I think more people talk about Black Widow to complain about it than they do say anything about Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it, but that's
going back to keeping us on a pseudo topic here, back to Miss Marvel.
It's only we talked about the episode for 12 minutes. We could pad the runtime by talking about the MCU in general.
And I agree, and that's because that's what I wanted to bring this back to, because we're talking about Miss Marvel and how much we are enjoying this one, but across the board, if you're looking, this is probably one of their best projects to date on Disney Plus. It's getting the least amount of hype and discussion I have seen out of any project.
Yeah, shouldn't have put it out against Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Why is Disney Plus competing with themselves like this?
I don't know, especially because the whole reason that you're churning out so much content is because you need to have people come over. Oh, and you have the overlap, right? That was the whole point. Marvel, Marvel, Star Wars, Marvel, Star Wars. What are you doing with Star Wars and Marvel at the same time? Did you not
only same time? Boys still hits the zeitgeist because it comes out Fridays.
Yes.
But you know what Obi-Wan and Miss Marvel do? The exact same day.
Are you nuts? And that was so stupid. And it was antithetical to their original plan. just delay it. Like, what? Why? Why did it need to come out now?
wonder
Like,
what
why did Ms.
happened
Marvel
there.
have to come out now? It's not like because Ms. Marvel was in the Cruise videos.
For the record, if you forgot, almost 3 weeks before Ms. Marvel came out, we didn't have a date. We
Right.
still thought it was like August, and we were like,
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's the next project that we got to discuss.
Because we had a date for She-Hulk, so we were all
Yes,
assuming
August.
She-Hulk was coming out first.
We thought it was Obi-Wan into She-Hulk, and there might
Yeah.
be a
Right.
lull in the middle. And we had internal meetings as absolutely going, this will be the downtime. We'll do some other stuff. We'll come up with another Batwatch idea. And then they were like, Miss Marvel, this week. And you're like,
Yeah.
what?
No, for me, you know what? It really it's kind of damning because it suggests to me that they don't have faith in it because they're going to do the same thing to She-Hulk. Like,
Right.
She-Hulk is going
That's what I was
to also
thinking.
come out at the same time as another Star Wars show, and it's like, so okay, because if there isn't an original Avenger also co-heading the show, although Hulk's going to be on She-Hulk, I don't know what it is. Like, maybe it's just that they were like, well, we have too much stuff, we got to put it out right now. Like, then maybe you should reevaluate your approach because you know
that was my because when we first heard, I don't know if it was on a video or if it was just in a stream or something, but I remember saying like when we heard about the Miss Marvel date, I was like, like because back then I was sour on it. I was like, this show's not going to be good. So that was another. sign.
I think that was all of our initial reactions because we were all like, why are you
doesn't
you're
bode
putting it on
well.
Obi-Wan because it's going to suck.
Right.
I remember
Now I don't know.
When Miss Marvel
I don't know
was
what
first
they
coming out,
thought.
there was a discussion internally that we weren't really going to cover it. Because
Yeah.
we thought it was going to be a kid's show, and that's why they were throwing it on top of Obi-Wan, because we're like, it's
Yeah.
just going to be a kid's show going
Different
on top
crowd.
of Obi-Wan.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're not going to watch that show. And then all three of us were like, oh, I watched episode 1, and oh my God. Like,
I was gonna watch it no matter what.
It wasn't
But,
just
yeah.
like it wasn't like the best show ever made, but it's like it's a competent show that's on the same level in terms of tone and quality to like Falcon Winter Soldier, and like it's the show that is in the MCU. It's basically a movie. Like it's part of it, and it just does a nice job. It's weird that Disney's approach is this. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm losing faith. I mean, like sometimes they make good stuff. I mean, like we crapped a little bit on Loki a little bit, and I was like, WandaVision and
It's
Loki
the
were
one
actually
episode.
really good. Like those were really good shows.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And
I have
I was
complaints
very
about both
invested.
of them, but
too.
it's key issues, key episodes, I mean.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
it. Like that's the problem, right? It's the same with Daredevil. You know, where we're like, or any of those Netflix shows where we're like, this is a great show. Too bad they wasted 6 episodes on garbage.
Yeah.
Like
I still remember that first season of Luke Cage, which was going great for like 5 episodes, and they're like, we're gonna take a detour for another villain for 4 episodes, and we're just gonna leave this whole Cottonmouth thing on the side. We're
Right.
Like, why? What are you doing? Just go finish it.
Weird.
right? Or like, hey, let's leave. Like Jessica Jones, where it's like, we're gonna leave New York for like like half a season and then come back, and it's like cool. So you could just when you're watching it, you could just stop watching that.
Whoop.
It's like it's like watching Stranger Things season 2, and you're like, oh, hey, it's the episode where she hangs out with like the X-Men. Bye, and then you just move on to the
Bunch
show.
of nothing episode. Next,
Yeah,
please.
and it's like not even at the very least the Stranger Things idea. That's like a backdoor pilot. They're like, do you want to watch a show about 9/11?
Right.
And
We're
it's like,
trying
no,
something.
no, I
do
don't.
So weird for
You
a
take this off the air.
planned out thing.
So
but-
weird, right? Like that must have been Netflix being like, "Can we do that? We could just get these randos and shove them into a show over here." And then the audience just collectively went, "No,
No.
I don't understand." Like Netflix pivoted. They're like, "Okay, no, done.
Right.
We won't do that."
It's weird
How come
when
Disney isn't
studios
like,
listen like
"No, I don't understand."
Doesn't happen.
You joke about that, but the Stranger Things spinoff finally got greenlit.
I know, I heard, but they said it's not that. They said it's like something you
No.
don't expect.
Okay, good.
Why would it
Okay.
be?
No, it's not them.
Because you were saying all this, and I was like, it actually sounds
They
like
are
it's
making a
happening.
spinoff. No, I remember them saying that. They were like, "Yeah, we're making a spinoff," and I'm like, "Don't."
But money. And
Right, and it's like
franchises.
there's not enough. I don't
No.
understand these people
Netflix
who are
is
like
shutting down.
right, like you laid off so many people today, and
Well,
you're
it's
like,
not a
but
good
money
idea.
though, like oh yeah,
Well,
because
The fact
I would
is,
like a
they're all
creatively
trying to get
bankrupt
money,
spinoff.
but we're dealing with an inflation issue that is like ruining everything.
Right.
You know, I was just looking at Twitch, and so many people are complaining about the revenue on Twitch, and I'm like, well, you got to remember, watching you is a luxury. And
Yes.
if I have to pick between you and my double price sandwich, it's going to the sandwich. Dylan doesn't have a car because of inflation.
No, like literally, like it's not just
Yeah, I
it's
guess that's true.
inflation meets it's like content inflation. Like where we're in a place
Yeah.
where I only have we still haven't figured out a way to add time to a person's life. So it's still
Yeah.
24 hours in a day. And I'm going to allocate that amount of time to like going to the bathroom, sleeping and eating and doing my job. And then I got like the rest of the time that I can dedicate towards content. What content am I going to watch? Is it going to be the 16 streaming services, all of which have their own exclusive shows? Is it going to be regular television? Will it be film? Or will it be the internet, which produces their own content, which is content that commentates on that content? It's just, there's too much content and not enough hours in the day. And like, and something's got to give. And I promise you this, when people get too much choice, they choose nothing. It's like when you're given an opportunity to write an essay and they're like, and your teacher goes, it's about anything. And how many students that you have that didn't turn in an essay at all? Like, it is that kind of experience. And like, I'm telling you, man, I'm thinking that we're going to reach critical mass at a point where we're like, everyone's just going to go, I've had enough. Like, I
literally have 4 hours a day now that I had to set aside to just disconnect.
Right.
And I want to say, I do feel bad for all of you who don't have my extreme ADHD and can't do 3 things at one time.
Right.
Because how do you focus on one? Because I got a show going on a tablet. I got a video game that I'm trying to catch up with because it's new.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm flipping through Twitter during load screens on the video game. Like,
yeah, never mind social media, video games, and also the allure of TikTok, which like is basically its own thing. Like, it is basically
essentially
its own
time
thing.
travel also. Right. It's like 6 hours go by and it feels like 20 minutes when you're
It really
TikTok.
is. And it's like, as Benny pointed out, it dwarfed YouTube in terms of viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it is, and that institution is so monstrous because they figured out a way, because that's the thing, is everyone's broken, everyone's miserable, everyone's unhappy. Because like, here's the thing, right? Like, it used to be like, if you were like, I'm gonna be a YouTuber, why were you gonna make why be a YouTuber? Why be a Twitcher? Because it's like, I have something to say, I'm making a thing, I want to do it, and I can make a living off of it. TikTok has convinced generations of people of varying ages from like 10 to 55 that are like, no. The reward is the amount of likes you get. The reward is not monetizable.
I'm watching TikTok and I'm watching these new influencers, these new content creators, and the philosophy on TikTok has apparently become just get out as much as you can.
Make as much as you can.
I was watching somebody who was like, this is how much money I made on TikTok, and it's still like,
not
it's
as
all
much.
about how much can you
Pennies.
churn out as quickly as possible, because they're paying you pennies to churn out as much as you can.
Well, and you the thing is, it's unsustainable, but it doesn't matter because the turnover rate is like an Amazon warehouse. Like, if I've convinced you that the reward is just having followers, then I'm gonna get like all these narcissistic children. I mean, I'm gonna get anyone who thinks they deserve an audience. Will come on, and it's like, oh, you have to produce 7 videos a day, and it's like 7 videos, then you're gonna burn out within 6 months, and it's like, that's okay, I'll replace you with 10 people before then.
Not to throw Hassan under the bus, but I'm gonna throw Hassan under the bus,
right? Because he's literally a TikToker.
Yeah, he's literally a TikToker with 6 million followers, okay?
Right, 6 million, which is impressive.
It's super impressive, but he's trying to grow a presence on his YouTube Shorts. And his plan for the months of November, December, January, February, March was 6 shorts a day. He was producing 6 shorts a day because he felt that was what he needed to do the job. And he did that until he ran himself into the ground. And me and his YouTube partner membership were like, dude, YouTube caps at 3, and even that is a lot to put out.
Yeah.
You need to slow the hell down.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Right? Because if you want to keep doing it. But that's the thing, is you're competing. Everything, everywhere, all at once, not to tag a movie, but like, is competing for your eyeballs. And then that's not to consider like advertising. That is just literally things that are obtrusively getting in the way of the thing you're trying to watch. Oh, and then there's the news, which if you feel educated, you feel obligated to know what's going on and read. That's another thing. And of course, it's all bad news. So you're just like miserable. It's you're bombarded by everything at the same time, everywhere, all at once. And it's like,
part of my burnout in 2019 was literally that. It got to the point where I felt I had to watch Flash, Arrow, Supergirl. I had to watch every single movie that was getting dropped by the MCU. I had to read every one of the comics and the 50 comic books in a day. At the same time, I've always tried to make a gaming channel that works. We're on our 3rd iteration. But at the time, there was a 2nd iteration, and I was trying to play every game that came out while maintaining my own hobbies and my own jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was just too much for me. The way I get by now, and I'm happy, is I wake up at 5 and I don't touch a screen until 8.
Right.
Nice.
Like I don't. I just read. I mean, I'll touch tablets to read the books on the tablets, but like I'm not watching TikTok or going to YouTube or popping out. I have to disconnect from that level.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why like over the years I stopped playing a lot of video games first, and then I stopped reading comics. And it wasn't these weren't intentional decisions. They were just like
you just hit a wall. You can't keep up.
That's the thing is, you
and for me it was like
limit.
you know. Right, and like COVID, like for me, really made me hit that wall, and I haven't fully recovered, like just like mentally.
No one has
from then. So like
because we all went home and increased our intake of this content.
Right.
And that's
but even then, like that was like I'm saying like that made me hit a wall in a different way, where it's like at the end of my workday, even if it's short, like I'm so exhausted, I don't want to sit and read a comic. I don't want to sit and play a game. I just want to lay on the couch and let media pass through my eyes and ears.
Yeah.
And it's so, like consuming TV and movies and YouTube and whatever, like just visual and audio content is so easy to do.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's no input from me. It's just me like the strongest input is choosing what to watch, which can be very taxing.
Absolutely. But remember, and as consumers of this content and consumers of YouTube content in particular, like we know there's like a reality in which you reach a point where you're just like, there's a YouTube channel that you're watching. You used to love it. You watch it all the time. You've watched it for 5 years, 2 years at least, and you're like, and then you see it in your inbox, and you go, I know what they're gonna do. And you don't watch it, and then you don't watch the next one, and you don't watch the next one. And then you see like there's like a whole ocean of videos that they've put out that you don't watch, and then you're like, I'm never gonna watch another one again. It's not even an elective decision, but it's like your brain, and I know you've been there. The audience that watches right now, I guarantee you've been there, where you're watching this thing, and you're just like, you've watched this thing. It is your life. It's your identity, and then one day it's gone forever. And you don't even know when you cut it out. And that is every media. And that's what Marvel and Disney Plus is doing as well, is they're going to contribute to the death of all of it. In terms of like
there's too much.
There's just too much, and even too much from them. It's not just like, I mean, it's asking a lot to make a Ms. Marvel show in the world that we live in today, much less make a Ms. Marvel show against also an Obi-Wan show while She-Hulk's coming out, and also Eternals, and also Doctor Strange, and also Thor 4, and also all this other stuff.
And you're not even accounting the DC side of the house. Like all that stuff's still going on.
Like, well, thankfully they only release a thing like every 3 freaking months or 3 years. Like unless you're talking about TV shows.
When you see it set out as like a on a calendar, it doesn't feel as daunting. Like when you see it's like, okay, especially because you're thinking about TV shows when they start. Like Obi-Wan starts in May, and then Thor comes out in July. You're like, okay, that's
3 months.
That's a good, but then you think like, oh, well, Obi-Wan has 6 episodes, and also Ms. Marvel starts 2 weeks after that, and also has 6 episodes. So, like, I'm thinking like just week to week, you watch an episode of TV, weeks get shorter and shorter, they feel. And now we're like, oh shit, Thor's coming out already, and we're not done with Miss Marvel yet, and Obi-Wan just wrapped up, and we're starting She-Hulk very soon after Miss Marvel. It's like, oh god.
See, for me with this whole burnout thing, what got to me was I realized I had started converting things that were supposed to be fun. So a lot of you guys like to argue that this job is all fun. And there is a lot of fun to it, but we also have a lot of heavy work days between the editing, between the meetings, between stuff we have to do.
But there was people don't talk about how fun stuff turns into sometimes feeling like job stuff.
Well, that's what I'm getting to right now. It's like what happened with me in this influx of content, I had gotten to a point. So for me, video games, if I like the game, going for 100% completion. I like platinuming in them. I like doing stuff like that. Same thing with TV shows. I like being able to actually focus on a TV show. And it got to the point where I would work. I would sit here and work from like 7 until 4. And then get done with work, and I would have anxiety because I'm trying to think, okay, I got to watch these 3 shows today, and then I got to play this game, but I want to go back and I want to finish this game. This is the one I want to play, but I got to do this game because I got to talk about it this week.
Of course.
And I got to talk about these 3 shows. And of course, these 3 shows, they're all like an hour a pop. So I gotta like figure that one out. That's like 3 hours of content I gotta consume there.
Yeah.
While playing this game, but I gotta pay attention to all 4 of these things. And I realized I was getting anxiety from what was supposed to be my relaxation time.
Yeah, and you're looking at that from a perspective of a content creator who commentates on those things as well. Like,
Yeah.
you imagine just a regular person who, like, works at State Farm, or maybe there's a student, you know, and they're bombarded by all this stuff, regardless of their willingness to be a participant of it. Yeah. And also, they have to work like a job that has nothing to do with pop culture and media,
Yeah.
and how all-consuming that is, and how stressful that can be, and and how American culture and maybe world culture, I really couldn't speak to it, but like has metamorphosed into this place of everyone is a content creator at all times. Like,
well, TikTok has done that because
Yeah.
they made the barrier for entry stupidly easy. For
Right, like-
TikTok. So we've morphed from a thing of like, YouTube's a fun job, and if you have a passion, you could turn it into a little bit of income.
like, this is fun. Yeah, maybe you might want to do
But
that.
there's still a level
like-
of work we have to do. You have to get the camera. You got to get the editing software. You got to learn how to edit. You got to learn how to upload.
But even
you
then,
gotta
that's
do all
pretty
that
cheap.
stuff.
Like that, you can scale that down. Like
The
if it's-
barrier's
that could-
still low,
That
but
could be
you
a
scale it-
part-time thing.
Right, but we have now scaled it down to, hey everyone! Oh man,
Yeah.
my opinion's on such and such, and you are now a creator. That's
Right.
it. That's what we scaled it down
Every
to.
single one of my friends and most people who I tell what I do for a living, their reply is, "Yeah, I've thought about making a YouTube channel," or like,
Yeah.
Everyone everywhere has wanted to be
Yes.
has thought about doing
Has
a podcast.
wanted to be a YouTuber, podcaster,
YouTuber.
or TikToker. Those
Yeah.
are the three I
Normally
always
they
hear.
don't. Normally they
don't.
like don't, because most of the time, if it's a friend of mine, I'm like, "Hey, I'll help you. I have camera gear. I can
they're
come
like, "Oh,
help.
no,
I
no,
can
no."
workshop with it." And they're like, "Yeah, sure, maybe," and then nothing. Like, okay. But
Yeah.
at least like that shows that like the like social shift of people think like that now.
Yeah.
Because that's
And, you know,
that's the
and it's
content they consume.
That's right.
I feel like because of the world we're in, where there is so much content, like for me in particular, I'm trying to watch all my sitcoms. I'm trying to watch all the Disney Plus shows. I'm trying to watch every movie that's coming out. I'm trying to keep up with my shitty horror movies that I enjoy.
Right.
I'm trying to level up a character in Evil Dead the game. I'm trying to level up a character in Riders Republic. I'm trying to level up a character in fucking Naraka Blade Point, and I'm trying to play Persona 5. Okay,
Yeah.
and that is like me right now. What I think is going on is what the people you're talking about, Sal, who work 9 to 5 and they come home, and Marvel's like, well, what if you only have our stuff this week?
Yeah.
What if we just give you, here's the comics, go read those, go
your
check out an
entertainment.
episode of Miss Marvel.
Right?
Yeah, we are your entertainment. We're going to encompass the rest of your night.
Yeah.
Because if you only have 2 hours, we'll fill that for you.
Exactly.
And that's the philosophy they're working with right now.
Yeah, and you look at like the competition is stiff and
Yeah.
all consuming.
Well, because like
and
Amazon's got The Boys.
Amazon's
So
got
I
the
feel- I
boys.
feel like-
Paramount
I feel
Plus
like
got
Miss-
Star Trek. Like Disney
I
Plus has
feel
Star
like
Wars.
Miss
and Marvel.
Marvel was rushed out, now that I think about it, to compete with The Boys. Marvel's like, we only have Miss Marvel, so
Right.
let's give them a wholesome, family-friendly
Not competing
superhero
with The
show.
Yeah.
Oh, Boys is crushing it. Boys is incredible. Sal,
just
you
mean not
really need
even-
to watch
not
The
I
Boys.
do need to
Quality-wise,
watch more of
just
the
like-
boys. I know.
Difference
Yeah.
in level of, nobody who's watching Miss Marvel isn't going to, they're
Yeah,
not
it's-
stealing viewers from each
No.
other.
And then on top of all of this, you got Superman and Lois over here going like, we're in our own universe. Just wait till you see what we got. We got
Right, like, I'm sorry, who are you again? Who
they're-
let you in?
That's a good point, because with that show, it's like that's a show that's like reminiscent of the past and like how things used to be, and by used to be
Yeah.
I mean like a year ago. But like even to that end, with CW shows like kind of sunsetting and coming to an end, like Superman
Yeah.
and Lois just ended a season that was like very roller coastery, just like the first season, with like good and bad, but it ended at episode 15, which is a little sooner than normal for CW shows. And I was like, I breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, oh, whew, good, we're done. But then on the other hand, my like content brain is like, uh-oh, that's one video a week that we don't have anymore. Now what are we
Don't
going to talk
worry,
about?
we get Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Yeah, the cartoon show on HBO Max. Like, great.
Oh,
There's
that's
only gonna
coming
be,
back
like,
again?
There's not going to be
Oh,
a lot
boy.
of those.
When the hell? When are we getting Peacemaker season 2? That's a totally different.
they haven't even shot that. But
Not
like,
soon, I hope.
Yeah, but it's too much. It's too much, and we're going to reach a critical mass. And Ms. Marvel is a good show in an ocean of decent shows. But even
Yeah.
then, like, it's like comparing Coach to First Class. Like, is Ms. Marvel a great, phenomenal show, or is it just a pretty good show in comparison to the last few things we've gotten from Marvel? Because we're worried that Marvel's like resting on their laurels and being like, just make it. There's no time to even worry about whether it's good or not. And it's like up to the
on to the next
showrunners and the
thing.
people who are making the show to be like, we have to make a really good show because I care about making a really good show. Not because like there's an overseer who's like, make sure it's good because our brand means quality. And that's the problem I'm seeing, or at least one of them, Not to mention the fact that people are going to get burned out. Not just people who make content for a living about this stuff, but people who watch this stuff for fun.
Yeah.
Well, because what ends up happening, and just to kind of to bring it all back around, is when you burn out on content, you don't shift content normally.
No.
I don't burn out on PlayStation games and go to Xbox.
Right.
I don't burn out on Disney Plus shows and go watch HBO Max. I just stop. I go outside and I hop on a bicycle and I ride around, and then you discover other hobbies, be it drawing, painting, doing biking. There's a number of things that you photography,
but
Legos. Houston, one of my staff members got burned out on shows and just builds Legos at his off time. I'm just saying, you find other things. And I bought a bunch of Legos because that looks like fun.
It's weird in this discussion of having too much to watch. There is that point where you reach a point of critical mass and you burn out, and then you're like, oh, well, now I have nothing to do. And that's it's such a weird, well, you have all of this to do. And it's like, well, I don't want to do that. I can't.
Well, I don't want to do everything.
That literally, you know how many times I have sat down Wednesday or Thursday and I go, I have nothing to watch. And then I go, oh, right, I have to watch my CW show. I have to watch the CW show to catch up with, Dylan and Husson. And I got to chat with them about Superman. And I go, or I'll put on this shitty movie that isn't linked to anything and just watch this.
Well, that's why I constantly have, because we're always watching new stuff for work, and I there's this level of anxiety with rewatching things that it's it feels more comfortable. I'm constantly rewatching one or two shows. And that's what I put on. Right now for me, it was Parks and Rec. I just finished that. Now it's Orange is the New Black. I'm almost done with that.
Nice.
And I'm worried about finishing that because then I don't know what I'm going to watch.
Right. Right.
But that's the thing is there's this level of exhaustion that comes from such a strange place of just watching TV, watching movies, and it's at a certain point you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know what to do.
I want to end this discussion because we're about to loop it over here, but I want to end it with just on that note right there. I have noticed a weird trend recently. I will go out. I will bike for 2 hours through the foothills. I will come home. I will lift weights. I've done this. I will go do a rock wall and then go hang out with my buddies, play video games all night. 10 p.m. rolls around. I'm feeling great. I go pop a movie on and fall asleep with the wife.
Yeah.
But then there's a day where I get up and I just don't do anything but watch TV shows or play on my phone, and 7 p.m. rolls around and I'm like, why am I so tired?
Yeah. Yeah. Because your soul needs nourishment.
Uh-huh.
and
you would assume, and I have legit done 4 hours straight of taxing exercise related fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm fine.
Yeah. No, honestly, spending a 2-hour bike ride with your wife will be more energizing than doing a 30-minute boring podcast.
It's also so it's interesting to talking about length of stuff. It's so interesting where sometimes I'll be watching an hour-long YouTube video, and then I think of that in the context of an hour-long episode of TV, and they're so different and they tax you in such different ways.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's very especially now. It's been frustrating the past couple weeks where I don't have a car right now. So normally my answer is on the weekend when I have time off. I don't usually watch stuff as much. I'll go out and I'll do something. Whether it's just going to a store, shopping, or just get out of media land and do something.
Yeah.
I can't do that right now.
Yeah. The problem is, I was trying to link it into, you can't have a lackluster episode of your show because otherwise it will cause you to existentially question all of it.
Why are we here?
So I want to close
this about Ms. Marvel.
I hope you guys enjoyed the ultimate tangent. At this point, Dylan should have made a separate episode out of what I am dubbing the ultimate tangent. Let us know your opinions down below. I'm going to close this tangent out. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Benny. That's Sal. That's Dylan. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We are part of that content problem, and we'll bring you content every day.
Watch us forever!
At least we're not exhausting. We're just a nice podcast.
Two comments are I beg to differ.